guests with us to talk about some of the things going on in their departments, and I'm just going to have y'all introduce yourselves as we go around. So, welcome. Sherry Swartz with the Police Department.
Go ahead.
Yes. Didn't know if you had
This week for 9/11, to expand upon our memorial service that we usually have, we're doing a whole week of service to try to change this week into something positive. Today we have a blood drive in front of the police department, and it'll be open until 6 p.m. if anyone wants to stop by. We've had good attendance so far this year. Today. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. in front of the police department, we'll have our memorial service. It'll last till about 9:30. And on Wednesday, we're going to go to Coastal Alabama College and do a recruiting session, not only for people who may want to look at law enforcement as a full-time career, but students that may want part-time positions while they're going through school. Thursday, we're going to Shepherd's Place. If you haven't been there, it's a wonderful facility. It's an adult day center for folks with dementia or brain injuries. Officers are going to attend an art class with them, play some music, and then we'll serve them lunch. And on Friday, we will help Ecumenical Ministries prepare meals and then deliver Meals on Wheels to the local residents. And on Saturday, we have two events. Coastal Cleanup, which will be down at the Fairhope Pier at 8 a.m. Chief Hollinghead's going to lead a PD team down there. And also at the Battleship Park will be Recovery Fest, and that's for National Recovery Month. It's to educate and prevent addiction, and also to assist those who are struggling. But there will be a lot of family activities, food, and some fun little games to try out. So we welcome anybody to join us at any of those events.
This is great, and it's a week-long event. Did you give blood today?
Not yet.
Okay, just wondering.
Not yet.
We had to talk about this, and good luck.
We're working on it.
Yeah, there you go. Richard?
Yes, we've, as usual, kept busy in Public Works. Kind of one of the key things tonight on tonight's agenda is the approval of the bid for the replacement restroom at North Beach Park. We're excited about that. This is the bathroom that's being completely replaced, is the one right there at the entrance where the gatehouse is on the right. It probably is circa 40 years more of age and did not meet ADA compliance, so the new bathroom will do that, and will hopefully be a real nice addition. And then kind of phase two of that, we will be working on the bathroom that's there a little further north in the park. And luckily the building's in pretty good shape. We're going to be rearranging the layout to meet ADA requirement and replacing the fixture, so it'll get a nice facelift too. So we're kind of excited about those. Those were projects that have been in the budget and on the table, but we really had to delay it to get through the summer season to be able to do this work. And we're also continuing to pinpoint and target specific improvements to that facility down there. Also, we're working on some showering facilities for when you come out of the water, and hopefully letting our citizens be able to shower off to prevent the chances of Vibrio or any other potential problems with being in the water with a cut or an open sore or something of that nature. Other than that, we're been kind of working on drainage work. We're kicking off a project to replace and improve the drainage along Fairhope Avenue at Bayview. And the other thing is, we did last week have our pre-construction meeting for the resurfacing for 2018, and the contractor should be mobilizing this week. We're going to have to follow up and find out what order of work they're going to do it in. They were looking at which roads they wanted to do first, and when we have that information, for those roads that will affect the citizens that live on those streets, we did send out a letter today letting them know that this is going to be happening. There will be some road closures during the repair and resurfacing work, and we've asked them to either sign up through Everbridge or to provide an email, and we'll sign them up so that we can give them day-to-day notices of what's going on and when it's going on. So we're excited about that, and just keep knocking things out in Public Works. That's all.
Thank you so much. In tonight's work session, council work session, Both Richards are going to be going over their portion of the budget. You'll be going over facilities, and I know you're looking forward to it. I am. All of the 5-year
I can't wait.
infrastructure plan
Is that you're looking
for
forward to it?
utilities. I mean, I couldn't sleep last night. I'm so excited. Wayne.
Thank you, Mayor. We are moving along in the planning department. As you all know, it's been very busy. We had a very good planning commission meeting Thursday night. We had several projects on the agenda, but also we had some amendments to the subdivision regulations, which was exciting to see some changes in that. And we're working on a few others. Working with the planning commission, we're looking at the green space standards and some of the design around the green space standards. We'll work on that, which hopefully we'll have something to present and have up for adoption soon. So that's very exciting. Also, the planning commission, I just want to tell them, what a yeoman's job they do. It's a volunteer group, and many times, they are up there with no compensation or anything else, just citizens from the community, and they do a very good job of evaluating these projects and also working on amendments and working with staff, and I think they do a very good job. So I want to commend them for their job and their services. Richard Peterson's on the Planning Commission. And also I wanted to we'll have an opportunity to talk about, when we review projects, it's just not being reviewed by the Planning Department. We work together with utilities and public works and horticulture and all those groups. And, it's worked very well. We have a good relationship with one another. And I just want to commend them for the job they do in helping us ensure that the developments that are coming through the process are getting a full and careful evaluation, and that it's going to be the best it can be for the city of Fairhope, and that it will be a benefit. So I just want to compliment them on that. Also want to mention one last thing. We do have our field trip coming up on Thursday. We'll be taking a trip to look at some mixed-use projects and some things of that nature. I think it'll be kind of fun. We have some people from the Planning Commission going, as well as from the council going, and we have some guests lined up to show us around some of these places, and we'll be looking at some things that they've experienced in these communities that we might can learn from, and also some things we might can employ here that will help mitigate any of the concerns that they've experienced. So it's more of an educational field trip, but also a field trip to try to learn some of the best practices so we can employ those here and maybe avoid some of the mistakes that others have made. So we're looking
I'm
forward to
looking
that.
forward to it. Thank you. Paige?
So I am here to talk about some events we've got going on in Fairhope. This weekend, Saturday, it marks the 31st annual Alabama Coastal Cleanup. So Fairhope is actually one of the largest zones that are in this region for the state. We have over 600 volunteers come out and help us clean up our coastline, as well as we use it as a community cleanup and encourage, any community organizations, individual school groups, scout groups to come out and help us clean up. So we're really excited about that. That's going to be at 8 o'clock at the Fairhope Pier. If you haven't pre-registered, you can come down at 8 a.m. and we can get you all squared away with some trash bags, recycle bags. We provide gloves, and we also cook out after it's all said and done. And we've got hot dogs for everybody down there when we're all done cleaning up. So we take all that trash and that recycling and weigh it and send all those numbers to the state, and they use that to kind of help determine, if we're decreasing in the amount of trash and recycling that we're picking up off our coastlines and throughout our communities. And so it's really important for us to get those numbers out. So we're really excited. So anybody who wants to come out and join us, again, it's Saturday at 8 o'clock at the pier. And also, too, we've got Farmers Market that is starting back up for the fall, and that'll be next Thursday, 3 to 6, behind the Fairhope Public Library. We've got some great vendors out there, so y'all come out and join us for that, as well as the Fairhope Public Library has their youth services has children's activities every week at 4 o'clock. So you need something for the kiddos to do after school, you can swing by the Farmers Market and check that out. So that's pretty much it.
Do you want to mention our forthcoming, exciting State of the City. Well, we're going to make it exciting.
So we've got a new idea this year for State of the City. So we are looking forward to that. Hopefully in January, we're looking at dates. It's going to be community-wide and kind of like a fair-driven atmosphere where residents can come out and speak one-on-one to any department, ask questions on a more intimate level. And just we've got some great ideas in the works for that. So we'll keep everybody posted. So.
Yeah, we'll have council. We'll be there. We'll have it in the junior council, city council. All departments will be represented, and I think it'll be a better way for people to get maybe their individual questions answered when there's not really time to do that during a regular report for the state of the city. But I think we want this to be really a way for citizens to come and really get engaged with each of our departments. We'll have a place where maybe you don't even know where to go, and we'll refer you to those departments that you can talk to. So I'm looking forward to it. Okay. Tom?
It's been a big couple weeks in the rec department, and I think the biggest thing that's happened is that storm that we got last week. It kind of gave us a test run on things that we need to do down at the marina, and everything went real well, and it was easier than what we had anticipated. But we got a lot of expensive equipment down there that we had to unbolt and unwire and move out, and the electric department came down and helped us out, get all that taken care of and moved to high ground, and it just really helped down there. Everything else, everyone knows what to do, but the marina is brand new to us, so that all worked out real well. And then we've had a lot of rain out at Quail Creek, more than what downtown got. I mean, this morning, they got just pounded out there with rain, and the ponds are out of their banks again. They've been pumping for a couple days last week, and they're back pumping again now. And they did get opened up this afternoon. Things dried out enough on the course to get Quail Creek opened back up. And the clubhouse out there, every time I go out there, it's just it's like a whole new place. It's coming along real well. Very happy to see that. And then in the rec department, it's been a big couple weeks with the opening of high school football. We've had a home game, got another one this week. Youth football held their jamboree on Saturday, which they brought in, I think, 6 teams from around the county. Soccer kicks off this week with rec soccer. The club teams have already been playing and practicing. Whenever we allow them on the fields because of the rain, everything's so soggy. Youth baseball starts the 17th. It's just everything's wide open right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Mayor,
Hello.
Directors. We have done a little bit of mitigation with the storm recovery, and on the good side of the storm, it wasn't very windy, and the power remained on throughout all of the night for most everywhere. We did have a few isolated outages. Crews responded and restored those in good order, and we're very proud of that. The rain event, though, that went through up until the time where part of the eye may have been in Fairhope, and it was flat calm and seemed like we had gotten past the hurdle of the storm, because on the radar you look at the dry areas behind the eye, but when it came through, and at about 3:30 that morning, there was a significant squall line that came through that inundated what was already a saturated ground, and the system hadn't quite recovered, and we did have overflows. We're going through evaluating some of the areas in particular. We're looking at ways we can continue to improve our SCADA system that can help. We talked to a supplier of a different type SCADA system for some of the outlying areas we may try to incorporate as a test base for stations we may not need to respond to, but need to monitor and have available information when we need it for those stations. But we still have a lot of work to do too. I mean, there's just no doubt about that. We have lost one of our linemen to a neighboring utility, and the 2 weeks notice was given last Thursday. We recently had Johnny Keller, you mentioned, in the wastewater department, retired with 27 years of service. And we had another operator at the wastewater plant that went to another utility as well. And one of the overall themes of the reasons that we lose people is that they can make more money in other locations. And we're going to have to take a hard look at what we need to do, you know, as a utility and as a city to attract the best and be able
Be
to keep the
competitive.
best.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, you know, we have a strong will when it comes to wanting to see flowers changed out every quarter, and we like that. We like to see Christmas lights lit up in town during the season. And I would think we would want to apply that same level and standard to the utility system, and we're just going to have to get to the point where we make a conscious decision to pony up to the bar, basically, and make it what it should be. And, you know, I'm not making excuses, but that's the reality of where we are today and what we need to start looking forward to. And some of the budget discussion tonight will cover a little bit of, you know, what we need to do from an infrastructure improvement perspective. But we still need to have some depth, and we need to have some talent that can help support some of the rehabilitation work or some of the improvement work that we can do in-house if we just had that little extra bit of work or help to do that. So that's where we are. But
You know,
I was real proud of the whole team that went through the storm, and you know, they responded all hours of the
Very
night
professional.
and just did an excellent job. So I commend everybody that was part of that team.
I think that, you know, they are used to working with a tight ship, and they did everything very professionally. And now it's time to seriously address the things that we've been talking about for 2 years. And if that can't be done, honestly, we have to talk about a utility board. I mean, it's one of those, it has to be done. It's an important
Yeah,
asset.
and then you get to the point where you have to make decisions from circumstances that develop, and it's difficult to be able to accomplish that if you're held to a standard of procurement or approval that isn't automatic. And
Right.
you know, there's got to be some level of trust and respect and all that, and there's got to be, I understand checks and balances, and I respect that, and we have that within the organization too, and I think that's where the trust comes into play, and we need to recognize that. And you know, if we're going to be the best we can be, and if we're not going to be bogged down with work that is
Process.
required to get things done, then we can do more. And so that's
Absolutely.
what I agree with that.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
You know that adage, when it rains, it pours. So I think, you know, what's great about doing projects and seeking grant funding and all of that stuff is you're putting it all together, and then all of a sudden it gets approved and you start going. And so now they're all going.
Mm-hmm.
So we're starting to implement so many things right now, which is great. And this doesn't even count Restore, but there are a lot of things I'm working on with Richard, and we talked at the last council meeting about some pedestrian safety projects. There's some things that are starting to be implemented there. You'll see the wayfinding sign go up on the other side of Section Street this week. We're going to test it on the other side. Paige has been tracking feedback. We've gotten a lot of feedback from citizens on that. You know, working with the planning department on the visual preference survey. We got a grant for that, so we'll move forward with that. But everything's rolling now. The library pocket park, part of that is done, but we'll move the rest of that forward. So it's definitely pouring, but in a good way. And then we have the Parks and Trails National Park Service grant that will ramp up soon too. So that whole planning process will start. And then we'll launch into all the other things that Richard and I are working on. The alleyway project will start running too. So, and in an average day, I mean, I talk to so many different people, and you know, that does include developers. It includes all sorts of people that do all sorts of things in the city, nonprofits, CEO of Thomas Hospital. I mean, it just depends on what we're working on, but we definitely talk to, and our jobs necessitate us to talk to a lot of different people that wear a lot of different hats and do a lot of different things, and that's, you know, our part of our job as a you know, civil servant, as I see it. And so to me, that's a privilege to do that, and it's part of what we do. We don't make promises about anything, but we do listen if people come to us with things and move forward if it makes sense and go through the right process in order to do that. But I'm just excited that things are taking off and we're starting to see physical, things
There's a lot going on
coming
right now,
out, but
for sure.
it's an exciting time. So I look forward to continuing to do that.
Absolutely. Anything else? Yes.
And if I could, because sometimes I'm so excited that our citizens watch this, and then they send you emails questioning something was said. I do want to just kind of, for the record, make sure that I clarify a statement that I made in the meeting. As you know, here in Fairhope 1, we have a vigorous recycling program that we're committed to. We have had challenges, whether it was equipment, and we've worked very hard with your support, Mayor, and the support of the City Council that equipment fleet has been improved, and that part has gotten much easier for us. But the challenge that we face today is trying to find end buyers for the recycled material, and that has become very, very, very tough because the commodity market is very, very soft, and it continues to soften. We took the proactive steps of sitting down with council, and they authorized us to go into an agreement with ECUA, which is the Emerald Coast Utility Authority, that has built a clean MRF over in Cantonment, and we have now a contractual agreement for them to buy our recycles that we cannot find a market for here locally. And the comment that I said that someone was upset about or wanted clarification was, I said we're kind of doing a hybrid system right now, meaning that what happens today is everything that's collected and everything is dropped off is a sorted product, okay? And we try to maximize the recycling value of that sorted product. But once we've maximized, meaning we have taken those things that we have a local market for out, then it becomes a single stream, meaning we all put it in one truck and we take it to our buyer who will accept it in that form and then sort and process that. That was what that comment meant. It did, and we still want our participants to sort at the street because, one, it does two things. It's quality assurance at the pickup, that we're getting to look at the different items that are coming in to make sure that we're avoiding the contamination. Plus, we always have to keep glass out of the stream because none of our buyers want glass in that product. And our hope is that the projection a few months ago was that we were at least an 18-month downward on commodities, but there was an expectation that then it would start to improve. And we will make decisions about how we sell our recyclables based upon what is the best way to do it, i.e. what is the best return for the city or the most practical way to make sure that recycling gets recycled. So we don't want to disrupt what we've been doing because we're hoping to get back to a point where we are selling the commodities based upon their material type right here from Fairhope's operation. But right now we have a market that is dependable at least for a year, because that's how long our contract is, to the end of September of 2019. So we have bought ourselves 12 months of known recipients of a recycler, a wholesaler commodity buyer. And hopefully a year from now, we're talking about different changes that are beneficial to us. But I do want everybody to know that, one, we're committed to recycling. It's part of our sanitation process. I know there's a lot of areas around here that are taking recyclables to the landfill. We are not doing that. We do not plan to do that, and we will continue to search every avenue that is to our that's feasible and that's to our advantage to make sure that never happens. But I did want to clarify that when we take what we cannot find a market for, yes, it's single stream at that time, but we made it such because it's just easier to transport. But up until that point in time, we still want it to be a separated product, and that's
And we want
a
to clarify.
clarification of that. And I know we've got some bins and some things in the budget, and we're trying to actually proactively introduce some things in the new budget year that's going to hopefully boost and encourage
Incentivize,
further
yes.
participation, because we want the program to grow, because one day the market's going to come back to us. But that's just
Absolutely. And I think just for the citizen to understand that you don't have to have a specific recycling bin, but we do want glass by itself, and pretty much everything else can be in the other bin, correct?
At this point in time, if they're separating, we're fine with them to continue to separate. But at the way we're operating, if somebody has mixed something, there's no harm, no foul.
Right.
Okay.
But if you had two bins,
Definitely keep glass separated from
Right.
everything else.
okay.
And a citizen asked me, and maybe you can clarify, something about paper. They said, I don't think people understand what they're supposed to be putting in there and what they're not supposed to be putting in there. Can you elaborate on the paper part?
The biggest thing is anything that has come in contact with food, even though it's a recyclable product, we don't want in there because it can contaminate a whole load. For example, if your pizza delivery person pressed the box down or jiggled it when they delivered it, and the top of the pizza box inside has cheese and grease on it, you can't recycle that. That will contaminate a whole load of cardboard. But if the bottom half is clean and you take out the liner, you can recycle that. But that's the biggest thing. If it's styrofoam that's had meat or something like that, you can wash it off and make sure it's clean and recycle. But if it's not clean and it's put in the bin, it could contaminate a whole load.
So all the teenagers out there, your mother is not crazy when she's washing off your styrofoam containers.
And I will tell you, no matter how hard you try to clean out a plastic bottle of peanut butter, you just about cannot get it clean enough to go in the recycle. But I keep trying.
Well, now, we put glass and cans together. Is that still the sorting order for recycle?
Yeah, they can pull those out because cans still have a monetary value to them.
So would it be better to put the cans with the newspapers?
Again, if you've been keeping your glass and cans together, keep doing what you're
Okay.
doing. They would have corrected you if there was a problem at the street, so.
And we do have stickers available if anybody has containers and they want to label it for Fairhope Recycling. Those are available at all of our city facilities free of charge that they can slap on some Rubbermaid or any kind of containers for the curbside.
What the 2019 budget is proposing is all new service, you pay a fee or deposit for the garbage can, but you get 2 recycling bins for free. And that's what we would like to propose. And that will actually decrease our budget. And then, of course, we would like to start handing out these recycling bins at different functions. I don't think we're going to have them for the coastal cleanup, though.
No.
Next year.
We can put more information on the website too. I mean, we do share information with the public, but we want to make it easy for people to recycle. I mean, I've
Right.
seen restaurants that put this here and they actually put these pictures up. And I think that's really helpful. I mean, recycling can still be intimidating for some people. I mean, if you don't know what's supposed to go in there, you may just put it in the trash.
Well, yeah, and the nice thing is we're not going to be punitive to anybody who mixes something up because we are, the way we collect recycle, we have the human element who is actually handling that bin, so they can do a sort. We're just trying to make us more efficient so that we can service our customers. So if every house requires a heavy sort at the truck, it's slowing the process down, and and we do have limited people and limited number of trucks, and the wonderful thing about Fairhope is we're adding about 30 to 40 customers per month to our sanitation, and that's also adding 30 to 40 new recyclers, hopefully.
Yeah. Good.
This Richard may not agree with the being the wonderful thing for his department.
It's wonderful. There's always a silver lining.
Capacity.
Anyway, thank y'all so much. We will see everyone at the
Well,
work
thank you,
session
Mayor.
starting at 4:30.
Thank you.